But see, they made it a left-right issue, so a lot of Republicans got behind the war. But you look at Obama, he took 50,000 troops out of Iraq, sent those to Afghanistan, and put another 50,000 contractors into Iraq. Another 40,000 contractors into Afghanistan. That's a 90,000 troop increase. How is 90,000 more troops in Central Asia and the Middle East downsizing the war? I mean, I want to ask all you phony liberals this, but again, zoom in for me, guys, on the document cam here, on the Mail Online. Up to 2 million march to U.S. Capitol to protest against Obama spending and Tea Party demonstration. And then I ask everyone out there watching, how can all the foreign media get it right, but the New York Times, thousands rally with or against Obama? They're not even saying this was a rally against Obama. They're not even saying this is the American people speaking out and saying we don't want big government. We don't want 20%, not 1/20th. I wish it was 1/20th they were trying to take over. 20% of the economy that's left that isn't government-controlled healthcare. And sure, it's corrupt and got problems, and insurance companies are out of control. That's why if you really study things, you'll learn that actually big insurance companies are funding Obama and the takeover of healthcare because they're going to get liability protection. They're going to get to water down the care. This is totally sick. So I want to talk about that with listeners when we get back at 888-201-2244. Now, we are also in the next hour, after I take a bunch of calls on this subject and a couple other economic issues we need to go over that are very serious, and Russia saying, yeah, we did meet with Israel. Israel is planning to hit Iran. Last week, secret mission by Benjamin Netanyahu to Israel, from Israel to Moscow to meet with Putin and Medvedev, their president. And the media tried to spin it and said, oh, no, it was just an economic secret visit. No, Israeli prime ministers don't make secret visits to Russia unless they're planning something military. Is that Lebanon? Probably not. Lebanon doesn't border Russia. Iran does for more than 1,000 miles. And Russia has built those nuclear reactors, the Bashir reactor and others. And Russia has said, do not attack them. They have said, do not go after them. And they've said that over and over again. And now Putin, who's the real president of Russia, he's saying he may run again for president, but the prime minister, Vladimir Putin, and his minion, the president, are saying, don't attack. This is a bad idea, in a speech. So that's clearly what Netanyahu's visit was about. And we should discuss what's going to happen if there is a preemptive strike on different facilities and infrastructures all over Iran and its capital city of Tehran. So I want to get your take on that as well. And then in the second hour, the final hour today, I've never had something I've done on air that was this big. We've been all over international, national news hundreds of times. But I told you last weekend, I said, what I'm going to do Tuesday through Friday is going to be the biggest thing we've done yet. And Charlie Sheen coming out, challenging the president to meet with him or to meet with the victims' families that have asked Charlie to go public, like Bob McIlvain and other people that head up large groups that question the official story of 9/11. 6 of the 10 9/11 commissioners say it's a fraud, a lie, a hoax. Charlie came out, and it's been on ABC News, Fox. It's been all over international television. It's been on O'Reilly Factor 3 times, Sean Hannity twice. Limbaugh's talked about it at least 3 times in detail. Hundreds and hundreds of newspapers picked it up, many of them positively, and I want to go over some of those. The #1 video on YouTube, 2 days running, is Charlie Sheen's plea to the president that we produced and posted at Infowars.com. Another example of how we put 9/11 truth on the front burner and not the official government fable and lie. We did that. You, the listeners, did that, and Charlie Sheen did that.
Are you tired of losing your hard-earned savings in retirement? Does the continued loss of purchasing power through the hidden tax of inflation brought on by trillions of dollars in government bailouts bother you? Then please let me, Dwayne Daly with Midas Resources, help you to protect what you have left. Call me at 800-686-2237 extension 115, and I will explain to you how to retain your wealth and purchasing power now and in the future with gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a form of currency for 6,000 years compared to our present fiat currency, which has only been in existence for 38 years and failing fast. Call me, Dwayne Daly, at 800-686-2237, extension 115, to start your protection of wealth today. I will custom fit the protection package to your personal needs. No amount is too small, so start today. Call Dwayne Daly with Midas Resources at 800-686-2237, extension 115, for your gold and silver protection portfolio.
You found it, ladies and gentlemen. The front lines in the info war. We wage war on corruption. We crash with the lies and disinformation. We are shattering the left-right paradigm that is the global corporate takeover, known as the New World Order. And we are now going to open the phones up for the balance of the broadcast with some key news interspersed. I know callers will probably call in on 1,000 subjects, and that's fine. I love the random wheel of fortune, different issues being brought up. But I'd like to hear from you. What do you think of the U.S. media, the lying corporate whore media, telling you that a couple thousand people demonstrated in D.C. and hardly giving it any coverage, and then spinning it and saying, and of the couple thousand that did demonstrate, some of them were Obama supporters and want the health care, and the others were these crazy racist Tea Party people. You're not allowed to say socialism, it's racism. Trying to silence free speech. What do you think of the New York Times headline, carried in papers all over the country, thousands rally with or against Obama? As president leads a health care rally in Minneapolis, protesters in Washington denounce his policies. Meanwhile, the foreign press is reporting 2 million. And you look at the video, easily 2 million. Let's go ahead and go to your phone calls. Steve in Houston, you're on the air, Steve.
Yeah, good afternoon, Alex. I want to comment on what you're asking about, and I want to use that to lead into about this past Friday with 9/11. It's pretty obvious to me why the U.S. media is reporting this way. They're controlled by the same people, as you pointed out, that invented TV, and that's the Pentagon. You got the black propaganda machine. They always put their spin on everything, and they're going to make it go towards what the New World Order's agenda is.
And by black propaganda, people are so programmed to political correctness to not be able to speak. In England, they're banning saying it's a black day, it's a dark day, everything's racism. When you say black propaganda, you mean black ops or deceptive political information. That's the dictionary definition of it. You mean black ops disinfo.
Yeah, I used that term because I heard on your show a couple weeks ago where you pointed out it's not just propaganda. You have two kinds. You put out what's called white propaganda, which is the good kind. It's information to inform people and empower them.
Yes, here's the definition for those that don't know. People think of propaganda itself as bad. Propaganda, if I say, hey, I got great hamburgers and great enchiladas and great root beer floats I sell at my diner, and I think they're great hamburgers and enchiladas, then it's propaganda, but it's white propaganda. If I happen to like some type of tennis racket and I say I think this is a great tennis racket, or I think my car is great, that's white propaganda if I believe it's true, and it is true. It's black propaganda if you lie. It's black propaganda when the media says it's racist to disagree with the president. They know that's a lie. They're putting it out there to silence debate. Go ahead.
Right, exactly. And this leads into the main reason I called, about 9/11 this past Friday. Throughout the days I was able to, I listened to various talk shows, both local and nationally. And, of course, you had all these neocons, these fake conservatives out there all talking about how, we need to continue this war on terror, defend our country, blah, blah, blah. And I called into a couple of them, and I heard other people calling as well, saying that 9/11 was an inside job. And the first guy I called, I said to him, can I have a conversation with you about 9/11 that disagrees with the general, spin that's been put out there without being labeled a conspiracy theorist or a nut job. He said, okay. And I said, I have several points I'd like to go through and then ask you some questions. Okay, can we take these one at a time? I said, sure. I didn't even get to my first point, and he started asking me, well, do you believe planes hit the towers? Sure. Well, do you believe that terrorists, these Muslim fundamentalists slit people's throats with box cutters? I said, no. Okay, well, have a nice day. And, I was so infuriated, Alex, because the thing is, and it doesn't surprise me because that's the way these media whores are, but it's just the thing that, these people say they're fair and balanced, like Fox says, but yet, just like, and this is the main thing, with Charlie Sheen, what he's done, this guy has so much guts and fortitude and has done such a service to the American people in the world as well as you, but he's his point that here, I put all these valid points out with all the, all the links to the documentation, and rather than even address those, all they want to do is engage in character.
I hear you. I appreciate your call. We're going to cover that next hour. But what Charlie Sheen has done is tens of millions of people have read his letter to the president that has the 20 points. Major British newspapers like the Telegraph, their biggest paper, next to the Guardian, printed the entire 20 points in the newspaper.